Let's talk about the NDC now. The dust is yet to settle on the removal of the minority leadership in Parliament, and already some NDC MPs are questioning the decision, describing it as ill-timed and democratic, and one that has the tendency to sow seeds of disunity in the House. The General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, in communications, the Speaker of Parliament announced the MP for Ejuma-Kwesi-Anyan, Dr. Kesela Toforson, will be the new minority leader. He will be assisted by Emmanuel Ama Kofi-Boa as deputy and Kwame Gavin-Zagboja as the new minority chief whip. Here's the national chairperson of the NDC, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, telling me yesterday why the NDC took that decision to do this new shake-up.
A letter from headquarters signed by the General Secretary, the new General Secretary, Honorable Fifi Fiavi Kote, communicating formally to Mr. Speaker changes that we have made in our front line in Parliament. That is indeed true. And the new changes will bring on board Dr. Kesela Toforson as the new minority leader, Honorable Ama Kofi-Boa as the new deputy minority leader, and Honorable Governors Kwame Agboja as the new chief whip. And then we maintained Honorable Doyo Ganza and Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim. So this make up the new list of leadership in Parliament.
There's the obvious question as to why the NDC is taking the decision now.
We started reorganization of our structures to be able to position ourselves to fight election 2024. And in terms of why, it means what it tells you is that the only constant thing in nature is change. And so since the environment is changing, leadership and many other things must change along the new environment. We know, for instance, that going into election 2024, the economy is going to be the major battleground. And so many of the debates and other discussions will focus on the economy. So we better put your best man in the economy forward. And that is what we've done. And then we also looked at energy, you know, this petroleum and electricity challenges. And so we needed to settle on Kofi Amabua, our former minister, to be the deputy minority leader.
Well, so that's Johnson Asiedu Nketia there. We'll be having some brief analysis on this shortly. But I want to tell you about what's happening in the constituency, Tamale South, which happens to be the area where the minority leader has a lot of influence. He's the serving MP there because the coalition of NDC youth groups have described the changes made in Parliament by the party as an act of tyranny and an autocratic decision that cannot be happening in a party calling itself a democratic party. So let's listen to the concerns of the youth group there.
We wish to state emphatically that this is not just shameful, harmful and even wicked decision taken by party executive, but also a practice of tyranny and autocratic in democratic dispensation by Mr. Asiedu Nketia and Fifi Kote. Mr. Asiedu Nketia, in his quest to defend his unpopular, self-seeking and wicked decision, stated that they did this on the basis of regional balance. If we may ask, why was Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim from Banda maintained? Is it because he is from the same region with Asiedu Nketia? Ladies and gentlemen of the press, another question is, why was Honorable James Aveji replaced with Honorable Agboja? Both of them are from Volta region of Ghana. We wish to further ask if John Mahama is elected as a flag bearer of the great NDC at a Congress is he going to change Professor Jane Opoku as a running mate? If it is no, the question is which region is Honorable Atufosin and Jane Nana Opoku from? Another unfortunate and unattainable explanation offered by Mr. Asedun Kasia is that they need people with background of economy to lead our party in parliament, which we find it unreasonable because if it is people with background on economy that should be chosen as leaders, then His Excellency John Dramani Mahama must also be replaced at a Congress because equally not an economist. How many of our previous leadership from Parliament were economists? We wish to send a word of caution to this self-seeking national chairman and general secretary that they should prepare to continue to be in opposition with their self-seeking and parochial interests because we will not compromise Honorable Haruna Idrisu in replace of anybody in the party, not even the former president. We also want to bring to attention of the former president that these people purported to be his loyalties are rather his saboteurs and enemies. So far as we are concerned, we therefore call on all meaning people and stakeholders in the great NDC as a matter of agency to intervene and overturn this unpopular and wicked self-seeking decision that may deny the party, deny the NDC of victory in 2024. Again, once I want to state emphatically and equivocally that Honorable Haruna remain our role model as youth in the northern region, and we look forward to see him progress, and no amount of vilification or intimidation will bring him down. Thank you.
So that's the latest in Haruna Idrisu's own constituency. In fact, we'll be crossing over there to check the latest of what's happening. But the party in the diaspora is beginning to get worried about this. I want to bring in now Benjamin Kofi Kwashe, who happens to be chairperson of the NDC Council of Elders in South Africa. He's joining us live now. And Benjamin, it's such a pleasure to be hearing from you live from South Africa. Why is the party there concerned about what's happening here in Ghana?
I think the diasporan part of the national party has always gotten a role to play in everything the party does, because as I indicated time before, we are the branch that is in the diaspora, and whatever affects the party back home also affects us.
So now you have a group of NDC, aggrieved youth within the NDC who say the decision by the party leadership is undemocratic. What's your take on that? And knowing that this has the potential to crack your front ahead of the crucial elections in 2024, there's the question as to how there could be remedial measures that will be deployed to solve the problem.
I beg to differ. I think that we should contextualize this whole discussion and take out the tribal bit out of it. I've seen demonstrations in Honorable Haruna Idrisu's constituency, and I want to believe that NDC is a very democratic party. So at any point, the party hierarchy, as per the atmosphere, can decide to make some decisions that will benefit the party. These decisions, some of which can inure to the benefit of all that are involved in the party, or some of them may not be happy about it. But that shouldn't also enable us to go back and run our mouth and say all the things that we are saying, because a minority leader, what does it mean to be a minority leader? A minority leader means a member of parliament designated by the party, having the largest strength, and that is not the party that has formed government. Honorable Haruna Idrisu, we believe, is a brilliant leader, and I'm sure that the minority caucus worked together with him to give him that limelight that he had. And I'm sure if we could give the same to the current leadership, the party has spoken. I'm told in the communique this morning by the General Secretary that all that mattered in the party were consulted. And so I believe that even though some have their challenges and their differences. With time, we should all rally behind the party and ensure that we gear up for election 2024.
The report's very unconfirmed, but of course it's in the grapevine, so I'd ask you about it, about personal egos at clash here, a reason for which we're seeing such a giant political figure, Haruna Idrisu, taking off such a sensitive position. He's done well as the minority leader, you agree?
Absolutely, I agree with you. Honorable Haruna Idrisu has been and continues to be one of the best MPs that the NDC party can ever boast about. But there's a new leadership that has taken the helm of affairs of the party. I'm sure they also have a plan of action that they want to execute. In doing that, politics involves a bit of loyalty here and there. I'm not going to use that now, but I'm going to believe that whatever the party has decided on, I'm told in the communique that the party is going to meet the Functional Executive Committee, and also everybody that's is involved has been consulted. I should believe that. Look, we are not happy. Most people are not happy. Everybody believed that Haruna was the vibrant leader that we had, and I'm sure that if we give the same support we gave to Haruna and we give that same one to Honorable Atuforsin, the party will come out stronger. All the help. Remember, Haruna has not issued any statement to say he's not happy or whatever. What I know is that whatever the party decides on, Honorable Haruna Idrisu is going to support it. And at the end of the day, it will inure to the benefit of the NDC.
But by extension, you're saying that Haruna has to accept the decision?
Haruna, he is the leader of the caucus. And the caucus is there on behalf of the party. The party has taken a decision. I know Honorable Haruna to be a very principled and a democratic person. And if he had any other source of reprieve that he want to address, he will address it with the party hierarchy.
I've seen some members of the NPP, for instance, talk about the fact that by this sole decision, you signed your, quote, death warrant. Of course, the likes of the deputy spokesperson for the NPP or National Communications Director is already giving that sense to the public that you have nothing to offer as a political party. And that's why you're not even able to keep a united front with less than 2 years to the next elections. Do you hold the same view that taking this decision may affect your electoral fortunes?
It won't affect it. It will never affect us. You see, I've been in politics for long to see that anytime the NPP talks about things that happen in the NDC and they cry more than the NDC party, it definitely means that whatever decision has been taken, they know. We went to Congress to elect new executives. What didn't the NPP say? What didn't the NPP say? They said all sort of things, and we ended up electing this crop of executives. They went quiet. Today, we've elected leadership in parliament. They are all around saying, no, this is a disaster. This is whatever. I think that the disaster that we have as a country is the Nana Addo Bawumia administration. They are scared of reshuffling. They have. I was listening to your panelists earlier on, and I can say without any shred of doubt that we should not focus on the NDC as an opposition party changing its leadership in parliament. Rather, we should continue to delve into the issues of bread and butter for the ordinary Ghanaian citizen. The Auditor General's report is there. They are all running away from it. The NPP communicators, the ministers, nobody is talking about the Auditor General's report, but everybody now believes that we should talk about the NDC change in parliament. Is this not a misplaced priority?
Yeah, and I guess you're making that exact point about the timing and why many feel that in spite of all of these challenges that we're facing as a nation, the NDC, having very astute politicians at the helm of affairs, will decide to do a reshuffle now.
Yes, because the party has got its own agenda towards winning election 2024. It's a timeline. The party is following a guideline. So if the guideline is to change leadership at this time, we wouldn't wait for any other person to tell us the time to do the change. We'll do the change now whilst we focus on letting the Ghanaian people know that this government has run the country into a dish and this government needs to be changed. Irrespective of whatever happens at our front of the caucus in parliament, the NDC will rise stronger, united, and they would be able to see through the agenda that we all want to see a change in government and for the Ghanaian people to be saved from these current hardships that we are facing.
Well, Mr. Kwashi, the MPs themselves are beginning to speak on this matter. I've heard from the South Dying MP, Nelson Dapiamakbo. I've heard from the likes of Ibrahim Mutala, who is out there saying the decision is not right, in as much as he has some personal issues with the current crop of leadership, now immediate past leadership of the minority in Parliament. So it's going to be a hard time for the likes of Dr. Kisala Toforson to try and repair the ranks, get the house in order, just to face that common enemy that you have as the NPP.
The NDC has always come out stronger. I've heard comments that the Honorable Muntaka has made. I've heard comments that Dafia Mekwe and the others have made. Look, one thing you cannot take away from the NDC party is that it's a democratic party. So we allow for divergent views here and there. But at the end of the day, what is going to happen is that all of us are going to rally around what our national executives have decided. There might be grievances that we have. I would advise my comrades in the NDC that, look, this is not a time to run to the president. It's not a time to play to the garrally. This is the time that we need to rally around our national executive. If whatever we are saying or whatever the aggrieved persons are saying is something to go by, I'm sure they can take it through the National Executive Council or the functional executives and a redress will be made. But we can't continue going around saying that in public domain, thinking that the party has not consulted A, B, C, or D. When in our history as a party, has anybody been consulted and we've made known when decisions were taken to give us leaders in Parliament? Haruna Idrisu, when he was made a minority leader, there was somebody that he took over from. Did we hear this kind of agitations? I'm hearing my Northern brothers saying all sort of things about, let's not play the tribal politics with this. It's not in the NDC, it's not in our style. Whatever it is that has happened, it has happened to inure to the benefit of the NDC party at large. We might have our differences, but at the end of the day, we need to rally around what the national executives have said. Whatever they've said, I've not seen anybody quoting any constitution of the NDC party or any other constitution that the party executive had infringed upon in this selection. Whatever it is, there is a good reason for it. Let's wait and let the national executives advice as to why they made those decisions. I saw your interview with General Chairman yesterday, and I think he has given some reasons. And going forward, the party will come out. The chief scribe will tell us exactly what went into that decision, and we would all see that the NDC is the greater party that we should all support.
Your party is in its final phase of reorganization. The next phase will be the presidential and parliamentary elections. Some constituents of Tamale South who are obviously on the side of the minority leader, the immediate past minority leader, are already connecting what's happening now to the presidential race. They believe that Haruna Idrisu is not on the side of the JM camp. I'm told that John Mahama, per the accounts from the General Secretary, has been consulted on this matter. The constituents, and I'll get to the question shortly. The constituents go ahead to say that if Johnson Asiedu Nkita is telling us that Haruna Idrisu is not fitting enough to deal with the economic challenges that are confronting the nation as of now, then do same to John Mahama, because he's not an economist.
You see, the argument we're making is not here and there. President Mahama is going for an election to be elected or otherwise by Congress on the presidential ticket of the party. Honorable Haruna Idrisu, it's also an appointed person that got that position by the party caucus itself. Look, I think my Northern brothers are just blowing this out of proportion. I know how they feel, but the last thing that President John Mahama will want to do is to play tribal politics when it comes to these things. I know Honorable Haruna Idrisu to be a very good friend to President John Dramani Mahama. There is not anything that President Mahama will do that will not inure to the benefit of Haruna Idrisu. So I believe that at the right time, now everybody is agitated, people are taking to the streets, people are taking to party offices. I've seen them destroying posters here and there. Whatever it is, President Mahama, after our Congress and conferences, there were some differences. As a leader of the party before the elections, he called all those grieving parties and ensured that peace was made. If you could recall, after the win of Pablo Giorgio Parreado, Broja Demfi went to court here and there. We felt that as a party, he had the right to go and do whatever he wants to do to get a redress. But President Mahama called him and the situation was averted. Whatever it is, Honorable Haruna Idrisu's concerns will be taken into play. President Mahama would ensure that the party hierarchy, including the national executives that have been elected, do what is right. I beg to differ that I don't think that President Mahama and Honorable Haruna Idrisu have any differences at all. Not so whatsoever. Never.
Well, we'll see what then happens. A lot of engagements are ongoing. Benjamin Kwashi, thank you for your time here on The Pulse. I'm sure that we'll reconnect, obviously, as the matters unfold. He is the chairperson of the NDC. You have a final words for your grassroots? Briefly?
Yes, I want to.
Very briefly.
Yeah, briefly. I just want the grassroots to know that, look, the NDC cannot afford to disappoint Ghanaians this time around. There are issues that we are looking at as a party to ensure that we are able to win elections 2024. This is part of the agenda the national executive have come up with. Let's all rally around them. Let's support them. Whatever it is, it's not all of us that will be happy, but the interest of the NDC should be paramount than any of our parochial interests. And I'm sure when we do that, the NDC will come out stronger, and election 2024 will be ours to take.
Okay, we wish you all the best then. Benjamin Kwashi, he happens to be the chairperson of the NDC's Council of Elders, joining us from South Africa. And we're still keeping our eyes on the NDC, specifically the Tamale South constituency. Let's connect with Martina Bugri, who's our correspondent there. Martina, a lot is happening there ever since this announcement was made, removing Haruna Idrisu as the minority leader. What's the latest updates where you are?
Now, the press conference that was held this morning, the youth are saying that they are waiting for a response from the party. If that is not done, then they will know the line of action they will take. But for now, what they are waiting for is a response for the questions they have asked the leadership of the party, and they expect that they respond to their concerns. If that is done, then they will take a second decision. But that is not communicated yet.
The comments on John Mahama, why are they bringing that up?
Yes. When I asked the question, the gentleman who read the statement on behalf of the group, Abdul Rahman, said that Mr. Mahama has been quiet all this while this brouhaha is going on. And so once he is quiet, they believe that he loves it. He's part of it, and that is why he's quiet. If it's not part of it, if he has no hand in it, then he should come out openly and state he has no hand in it. That's one. And also let everybody know that he's not interested in what is happening.
Does it look like there will be a demonstration, a street protest in the next few hours if they do not hear from the national leadership of the NDC?
I didn't get the question. If you could repeat.
Are we likely to see a street protest? What options did they give? That, well, if we don't hear from the national leadership, this is the next line of action.
They won't say exactly what they would do if they don't get a response from the national leadership. But they definitely have a plan that would be executed if the first option, which is to address the press and ask these questions, is not resolved.
Martina Bugri, I'm grateful. We'll definitely reconnect as and when we have some more updates for you. But you have a lot of content at myjoyonline.com to check out.